Welcome to the Murali Daily. England end day 2 on 555 for 8. Double century for Root. Good knocks for Stoke and handy scores for Pope and Butler. Ishant Sharma looks like the pick of the Indian bowlers. Momentum is with England at the moment, but I think the question is how they go on to win from here. I'm Mark Machado and I'm joined by Tommy Stewart, Owen Blackhurst, Luke Wills, Sam Hartford and Johnny Gamer. The Murali end is powered by Sam's Chicken and Lion Beer. Lads, it's definitely in England's favour at the moment, but how do they kind of make sure that this doesn't end in a draw, which seemingly the groundsman at Chennai really, really fancied?
There's no such thing as a draw in cricket.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm a really strong advocate for just letting them have a quick bowl. You know, at the end of day 2, I don't like it. Definitely. When they go into day 3. I just think it stresses me out. I think you're wasting.
What, so you're saying that at the end of today we should have had a quick bowl?
That's what I felt. That's how I felt. Yeah.
Mark wanted to fucking retire at 350, didn't he, yesterday?
Yeah, I think that's what you do, because I think you power play, isn't it? You get the momentum, and you go right. Obviously not bang on 350, but I was like maybe like 370, and you go on then, lads, have a go. Because for me, if you look at the way India won those last couple of tests in Australia, they really come into their own in the last 2 days of the test. And that's when you think that the test has totally drifted away from them. And then suddenly they were right back in it. And I just wonder, going into this, I mean, if we're sitting here going, well, England look kind of like they're doing really well, 550 runs on the board, whether India are going, yeah, we can match this with the bat and then come back and get those 10 wickets we need.
I just think that if the new process under Chris Silverwood and Joe Root is to get big first innings runs, they're never going to declare early. And I also think batting for 2 days, it's probably got something to do with they want the pitch to be a little bit more volatile for when India get in. So it does help Bess and Leach, because it started to spit out the rough quite a lot today. And you know, Ashwin started to find some turn. And so I think there's probably a little bit of that behind it. They really want to, they want to give the bowlers as much help as possible.
I think as well. I think if it carried on with Stokes and Root, the partnership had carried on for like another session, I think we might have seen us having a bowl at like the last 5-10 overs of the day. I think
they would have batted quicker.
Yeah, they were going along at a really good rate. Obviously, Stokes was going at a fair lick, and then Root was sort of holding down his end. And then obviously when Stokes went, it slowed down quite substantially. Although Pope, scratched out 30 odd, he didn't really keep the scoreboard ticking over. There was a lot of overs where he was getting pinned down at one end. I think if they'd maybe carried on with Stokes, or even if Pope had picked up a bit of a better strike rate, I think we could have seen England getting towards 600 and then declaring with 5 or 10 overs to go in the day.
But I was saying just before this on TMS, they were saying that basically the Indian perspective of it is that they're so confident in their ability right now, especially coming off the back of that, and with Kohli being back in, that they're like, if they hit 500, we'll hit 700. So I don't know if it is a good score basically, but I did say, I was thinking like, Kohli returning a good thing, but is it as a captain? I don't think it is. Like he poor decisions today, and then they had an absolute that one with Joss, where I know Joss went soon after, but he had no reviews left.
I just heard Cookie saying towards the end of the broadcast there that he thinks Kohli's been dialed down a little bit, because he would have definitely been reading some of the reports that the Indian players preferred Rahane as captain, because he was a little bit more relaxed, and perhaps that's impacted how he's gone. But this is all good, serious cricket chat. But can we talk about Nick Knight just for a second?
Yes.
Because
this is way too serious for us. The
first thing I heard this morning was Nick Knight again say it's absolutely beautiful here in Chennai, and if you're freezing at home in the UK, I mean, we're not just freezing, Nick. We're in day 470 of this latest lockdown. You can just imagine him and Butch now sat on the beach, a couple of cold ones, bit of tandoori fish, WhatsApping their mates while we're all sat at home trying not to eat bread all day and drink paint stripper. Outrageous.
I'm not sure what's worse, getting updates from Adler Zatic in his dressing gown or getting updates from Nick Knight on the beach. It's, it's two ends.
Yeah, they're like the kind of people that that post on Instagram being like, "Not a bad Monday." What are you doing on your Monday? And you just think, "Fuck off."
Today's office.
I've heard.
Yeah.
And also, they're also the sort of people who would have, like, when they are just working normally in their office in England, they'd have on their mug, "You don't have to be mad to work here, but it helps."
Yeah. And then they post all the old pics on Instagram with the hashtag "Take Me Back."
Hashtag
Take me back.
One of those damn seagulls hats on holiday.
Can we also talk about how like increasingly awkward it is between Sir Alistair Cook and Rishi?
It's not even that bad, is it?
Bless Cookie.
Look, like I think what's happened is, and we're obviously partly to blame because we're contributing to this, is they've gone home and looked at the kind of reviews they get in on Twitter and social media and be like, "Oh God, this is not working at all, is it?" I mean, Channel 4 should have paid the extra and got the added charisma to Cookie, shouldn't they?
I was going to say, like, I was looking at Richard today by the end of the program. He looked like he was like falling apart. He's like bags under his eyes.
Yeah,
it looks like he's like gone through like a sleepless night, probably arguing with the wife, and he's just had to come in and just talk about cricket, and he's just like,
and he doesn't know anything about it. He doesn't like.
He just like he's trying to like string the lingo in. He's like, what word shall I use? I use some of these words. These are like cricketing words.
There was honestly, I did say about it in the WhatsApp group. I keep referring to WhatsApp groups if like our listeners are in it, but maybe we could do a competition to come in for a day. It's probably one of the best.
A competition.
WhatsApp group.
Who the fuck's entering that?
One of the top, Jake. Like,
They wouldn't.
Christ, 15 different accounts, but what was I going to say? I did mention it in there, but there was honestly, it was probably 2-3 seconds. It felt like about 12 seconds, like of him just not going. And Josh Butter, Josh Butter, the Pro Evo version of Josh Butter.
I'm going to give
horrible.
Cookie,
it's like, oh God.
I want to give him a little bit of a pass because he was getting very good on TMS as a co-commentator. And I think what's obviously happened, he's obviously a painfully shy bloke who would prefer to be on the farm listening to Snow Patrol and delivering a calf. And he's been thrown in front of the nation, in front of the biggest cricket audience for years. He's got no one else to talk to. So instead of thinking about his shyness, he's just shouting for about 10 minutes. But by the end of play, maybe he's just not a morning person. By the end of play, he was talking quite calmly. But I think in that middle period, I couldn't. The tea break, I had to go and do some yoga. Better for my long-term mental health if I don't see that.
Yeah, I was muting it when they were on. I couldn't bear it.
I watched the tea break and I had to agonise. Kind of, do you know what? I kind of find it vaguely comforting, actually, because it's like, we all have some kind of mild anxiety when you put something like this podcast that you listen to out, going, "Oh fuck, everyone thinks this is shit, don't they?" And no one's gonna listen to it. But then you watch stuff like that and you're like, do you know what? Everyone obviously has moments where they totally lose confidence in themselves, which is what happened with that. I don't know if you remember years ago, I can't even remember the guy's name. Liverpool were in a Champions League match. I think it was the last match that Rafa Benitez had in Europe with Liverpool, and they had to play this bloke from the Ukraine who kind of arrived at Anfield with this massive reputation because he played up front with Shevchenko, and he was just fucking terrible. And there was a moment in that game when Gerrard put a through ball in, and he just didn't have the pace or didn't have the skill to be able to control it or get to it. And he just there was a moment where he just looked at Gerrard and was like, "I'm really sorry, mate. I'm letting you down here." And that's the kind of reaction you're getting from the team in the Channel 4 broom cupboard at the moment.
Should we give them the benefit of the doubt, as if Cook was a new captain, and give him a test to get into it without absolutely rinsing him every day? Because I'm starting to feel sorry for him, despite saying some horrible things.
I think from a production point of view, I actually think they're being underproduced, and I think that it's just having two people in there. It's an impossible job. I don't think there's any way. The only time in the tea break they brought in Simon Hughes, and just having the third person just gave him.
That's great. That's good.
That was the only bit. That was the only bit I actually that that I actually like sat up and watched, like listened to.
Yeah, I was going to say like the Simon Hughes bit was quite refreshing because obviously there was like someone else to bounce off. But did anyone else love how he's like, yeah, like probably brought him in last minute because they're like probably thought, yeah, after reviewing the first day, it's pretty
and the
dry.
nostalgia as well.
Yeah, and then they're like, yeah, so we'll get Simon on, and they've got him to like put all of his stuff, like blue tack it in one corner of his room. So it's just like all of his stuff, like, yeah. So what have you got? It's like, fucking anything. Durham shirt, yeah, that'll do. Yeah. Middle sex jumper, yeah. And then they get him with explain with swing. So then it was the bit when he's going like, so this is how we're this is like regular swing with the shiny side of the ball.
But the ball he had, was like obviously a ball that he found in the shed.
But then all bloated.
Well, used to be when he goes like, yeah, so you get like that, the shine on that side of the ball, and then he goes, but then you can turn it the other way, and that's how you get reverse swing. And then he goes, and then if it gets really rough, you can turn it over again, and you get other reverse swings. Like, no, that's swing. He got himself so like involved in it that he was like, hang on, he's just trying to create different ways to make a ball move through the air when it was just.
Because he knows he's got loads of normies watching who will just be like, oh, wow, fucking hell, Simon.
He's probably got someone on the mic just being like, drag this out. Just keep turning the ball round and saying each time you turn it, it goes the other way, and then we'll get less of cook.
By the way, before we forget, how long have we been on, Mark? About 10. Before we forget, Owen had a great observation today of a certain Shane Warne's Instagram post comment, and I think that's the most important thing that we need to talk about today.
I think that's the biggest thing to happen in cricket.
What was it, Owen?
Today?
Shane Warne has clearly used a 10-year-old picture of himself on his Instagram today to talk about going to do BBL commentary. And I don't know why he's used that picture. He's got more hair now than he did then. I don't know why he's used it. And the first comment I see is from his ex, Elizabeth Hurley, saying, I recognise those railings, and then 2 fruity emojis. And I can't stop thinking about
right, cricket world. What I don't know. Well, first of all, guys, like what I don't know what. I don't know.
Hold on. Right, I just want to. This might be slightly unfair because I think me and Owen are the oldest 2 people in this room, and I think everyone else in this room is in there. Tommy, you're what, 30?
Not just 30. Fucking hell, there's been a pandemic. Nearly 31.
Nearly 31.
I was just 30. Yeah.
Right. So.
No, sorry, Luke's 37.
Oh, right. Okay. So you're older. So no, because I was gonna just add that it might be lost to some people that Liz Hurley was a sex symbol before she started posting stuff on Instagram about a week ago.
No. I think the whole world, everyone's seen Austin Powers.
She's still a sex symbol, Mark. Let's be honest.
Well,
go on, Sam.
No, there's a picture of her and Hugh Grant on the red carpet, like, I don't know, early 90s or something, and it's just like one of the most aesthetically pleasing couples you're ever likely to come across.
Oh yeah, fits well. Yeah. But as the bisexual member of the panel, like, I'd love that threesome. But
hold on. Who would you rather?
Wait. No, not the Shane Moore one. We've discussed that. But I should say my dad has finally started taking this seriously since we got like the likes of Owen in. Well, I told him Max Rushton's coming in, and he didn't take Your Fest seriously until like episode fucking 9 when Max Rushton come in. Even though we had like Asim Chowdhury, Ed Gamble, some really good guests. Anyway, he started listening now. We're getting actual like journalists and people in. So I sent him. I know he'll be listening to this now. He's catching up on the Murali episodes at the moment. So I sent him the Shane Warne thing, and I said, Liz Hurley's still thirsting after Shane Warne after all these years. He must be well endowed or something. And my dad said, don't recognise Shane Warne, lost weight. Because it's that fucking picture. But that shows Shane Warne's trick has worked. Because he'll like, and I said, we're watching the test. As a nearly 70-year-old man, he's watching the BBL instead. He's like Bumble. He's a sucker for T20. And I said, you know what, though? I don't mind Shane Warne. I know everyone hates him. And I said, I like him. And my dad said, so do I. He's a genius, which is true. We do talk about him far too much.
It's quite possible that you could both simultaneously be a genius and a dickhead, which is what he is.
Yeah, they're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
No, do you think the listeners would like to get involved in the most annoying England player to sit next to on a plane journey that we were discussing before? Because
yes.
For me and all of us, we think it's Dom Bess. And Johnny, I believe you've got a fantastic Joss Butler impression that we haven't heard yet.
Oh, should we do a bit of Joss Butler on the plane?
Could you be Joss Butler on a plane, sat next to Dom Bess after 8 hours, fucking infuriated with him?
How's about Dom Bess kicking his chair from behind? He's ruffling his chair while he's trying to nod off.
I don't think he does get infuriated. I think he got a bit infuriated at Philander, didn't he?
Yeah.
Dom, you fucking knobhead. Dom, seriously, bro. You're starting to really get on my nerves now. You've eaten all my fucking peanuts.
It's just a little bro. You can imagine saying bro, but being really uncomfortable with it. It's like, am I confident enough to say bro yet? Bessie bro.
What about Joffre today then? Yet again, walking out and everyone's thinking, yeah, Joff can bat, he can bat. Joff can bat. We all know he can bat. Fucking hell, can he not bat with the red ball?
Yeah.
I think the problem is he's too convinced he can bat, isn't he? He just needs to like come into the crease going, right, let's just get through the first few balls.
No, we wouldn't have any other way though, would we?
Of course not.
Like, genuinely, he's in IPL. Well, he got the MVP, didn't he? He is a gun player in IPL with bat and ball, but Red Bull, I can't. He's like, they keep putting him at. What was he in the Ashes? He was like, because we didn't have best playing then. He was like number 8 or something. It's like he's a bit of an all rounder. It's like, no, he's in Red Bull. He is not an all rounder. Go on, Sam.
No, I was just because I loved it in the Ashes when I think he sweeped a 6 potentially, and then,
yeah,
it was at Headingley, wasn't it?
And normally you'd be like, okay, right, I've done that. Maybe I'll just dot this next ball and get Stoke back on strike. He was just like, no, I fancy another 6 here, and then he got caught in the deep, and it was just like child's play. You were like, oh, I'm at a 6. Oh, I'll have another. Yeah, go on then. Not that it was like, one of the most pivotal tests of the summer or anything like that.
Well, yeah, he's ended up basically what's ended up happening with him is he's slowly getting moved down the order because it's like. They ended up moving up Leach, didn't they, last summer? Because he can hold up his end. He's got
someone fall.
Yeah, someone fall. Yeah. Sorry, yeah, he can hold up his end, and he's got a decent defensive.
Yeah, he has.
And I was just looking at the averages before they came in today. Like Joff's averaging 9, and Leach is averaging 18. And I was like, well, it's getting to the point now where you just put Leach above Joff, and that Joff just literally like drop him down to like 9 or 10 and say like, right, when you come in, just swing.
Yeah.
Like rather than because he can't he's getting to the point now where putting him.
He's never going to defend, is he?
Yeah. He's not gonna. It's just not in his. He's not in his makeup to do it. It's not in his DNA to see himself in. Whereas Leach will do that with the likelihood that it's going to be someone who's set above him, maybe Butler, maybe Pope, or Root, he's batting for long periods.
I just before we go, I'd like to say, I think Johnny, maybe we should script this out or something. It could be like the new Archers. Oh, Archer didn't mean that, but I'd love us to script out like a KP and Joss Butler sort of comments because they are literally it's a pure alpha dog versus a beta cuck male.
What do you think? Joss keeps bringing out his little rhino toys to show KP how much he loves rhinos that he carries around with him.
But I think for maybe not the next. Well, I don't know. Maybe the next longer episode, the whole episode can just
be back and forth.
Yeah.
Between the two, just them doing daily tasks. I'd quite like to do Rio Ferdinand and Joss Butler as well, like we were on about earlier. I can't really remember why we were talking about those two people.
Because Rio's watching the cricket and he was congratulating Joe Root on his double century.
I just can't think of two people who are so different, such a different amount of energy bringing to the table.
Now when Root gets a ton, he's up and he's yes, my man.
Flips the table, and Butler's like, my tea.
Do you think there's a whole box? Do you think there's a whole box of 5 merchandise, the hats and the clothing that Rio's clothing line on its way to Joe Root's house as we speak?
Oh God.
Should we leave it there, lads?
That's enough for today, isn't it?
Yeah. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe, rate, review, and if you want to get in touch with us, you can use the hashtag Uncle Johnson.
And I, as Owen pitched, we would like your who would be the most annoying to sit by or near on a plane, and we'll spread it out to cricketers of all time and not just England, just any cricketer ever who would be
Well, we know the answer to that. It's Steve Smith, isn't it? He's just like the world's most annoying person.
I don't know. Shane Warne pissed. Like,
I'd quite like that.
You are who?
Shane Warne pissed, just like leaning over you all the time. You gonna drink your bloody wine, mate?
Ponting really intense. If you try and put your elbow on the shared rest in between the two, Ponting furious, just giving you a dead arm and telling you to fuck off.
Or Justin Langer crying over Star is Born. The film hasn't got fucking Star is Born, mate.
Wait,
just constantly.
Can we have a quick Langer off between Sam and Johnny? I don't know whose is better, really.
Johnny's he's got that misty-eyed look that I can't quite captivate. Go on, Johnny.
The sort of looking like you're about to cry all the time, Langer classic. Oh my, oh my, and my. You've seen it? It's like the saddest, most beautiful film I've ever seen, man. But what you can't get across from listening to this is that he is wet in the eye, isn't he? Always.
My favourite is the dramatic pause when he's delivering the banter abuse speech, and he's just like, "Banter, let it breathe, but not abuse."
I actually think Sam's. I think
it's better. Yeah.
Anyway,
it's better.
We'll stop fucking about. See you tomorrow.
Justin Langer, what a wanker.
That's the episode name.
The end.